Morning. Appreciate everybody being here. Coming off of the game Saturday, like I said after the game, I was proud of our guys. I was proud of the way that they fought. I thought that was the X factor in the game, and. I think it started throughout the week of practice, just the intent, the purpose, the joy that they had in going through, the preparation. And, I really felt their energy. I felt the excitement, obviously all the things that showed up throughout the course of the game. And the game really did go, the way that I think it was probably very beneficial for us for where we are, because you had to see response. You had to see response to challenging situations. You had to see response in going and making a play. You had to go see a response to finish, and all those things showed up there in the game on Saturday. Yes, a lot of things we have to continue to improve on. A lot of things that we've got to work on and clean up, and really, it's in every phase, but I was proud of our guys for what they did to be able to go get the win, there Saturday night, and I thought there were some really good performances. I thought our defensive line, showed up, was very productive, impactful. I think we had 12 TFLs in the game. That was a huge part of the game. I thought we saw some young players that showed up and really did some nice things. I mean, Edwin with his first career interception. I thought Q was remarkable just in his coverage and the things that he was able. Impressive for those guys, those young guys in the secondary, to be able to take advantage of the opportunity. KJ Kirkland continues to flash, and doing some good things. And then obviously. Offensively, I thought that some of the plays that were made on third downs, some of those cash down situations were big. Some guys that you really stepped up. I mean, I was so proud of Jaylen early. Coming off of his first start, which was kind of unexpected. Just there in the Memphis game where obviously some challenges showed up, and but I thought he came out and played at a very high level. Here this last week, it was unfortunate. Rob couldn't go. Obviously, JB was not ready. I think both those guys have an opportunity to be back here this week. But to see Jaylen and taking the week of preparation and just the mentality of how he played, I recognized him and there in front of the team because they were just really proud of what he was able to do in that moment. You saw guys like Ja'Kai Douglas, who's been really good for us over the years. But I mean, a couple big third down catches. Obviously the touchdown there at the end. I mean, it was a great connection. There in that moment, and we had to have that play. I thought the run game really showed some life. I mean, that was a good Cal defense, and obviously the front seven, they've been very strong, this early part of the year, and I thought our guys were able to create some run seams. There were some things that we still get to clean up and build upon, but I mean it was good to see that the run game getting established, and we did miss some miss some explosive opportunities, where we got to be better. To drop, had a missed opportunity to connect vertically down the field, but. All in all, I mean, I thought it was it was a good team win, and I thought that the special teams, there was some good and bad that we get to continue to work through, but overall, I thought Alex was remarkable in helping flip the field, and just our coverage of Ryan continues to be great, in his kickoffs, and just get to continue to build upon a lot of those areas where our return game, we need, I think we're close. I think we gotta get a spark there, but I'm excited about the week that's ahead, and we have to go on the road, ACC, conference game is the first ACC game for SMU. I know it's going to be a great atmosphere, there for them, kicking off, their new start in the conference, but, a lot of respect for their coaching staff, the guys that are there, and, they've got a talented team, coming off a big win for them, this last weekend in rivalry games. So, we got to have a great week of preparation. I know our guys are excited to build off of some of the things that we saw and experienced this last week. But there's no question about it. We got to go get better, in every area. And I know our guys, they got off to a great start with that last night. And I felt that urgency, there in practice last night. So we got to carry that over here tomorrow.
All right. First question will be Ira. Second row on your right.
You guys, even though you had only scored 7 points at the half, you'd moved the ball well. It just you didn't capitalize on some of those opportunities. What's the key to kind of finishing some of those drives?
Well, we got down into the red zone, had the turnover, and that was it was just a bad play. I mean, it was one that we can't have the the interception down there. Obviously we had a couple negatives that forced in a long yardage situation, but I thought we did move the ball. It's just it's a consistency, making sure that we're executing there on the third down. We had a couple penalties that ended a drive where that where we were forced to kick. But I mean, those were you started to feel a little bit of rhythm there in the first half, but it's still about being able to go down and finish. And I mean, I can't have the turnover, but I thought that was something that was productive. Coming out in the third quarter, we obviously you had a opportunity there, early in the third quarter. But I mean, I think we had 2 3-and-outs to start off the second half, and we can't have that. And I mean, we're trying to establish things in the run game, and we're close on a couple of plays when it comes to that. But obviously we got to be better when we get started. I thought that there in the drive, the third to the fourth quarter was good for us. It was something that we needed. We had to have a couple third down conversions that showed up, but it felt good to see the offense getting rhythm, but we got to finish drives. And the name of the game is scoring points and putting our guys in the best position to be successful. So obviously we got to continue to work and make sure that we're doing that.
We'll go one row back to Liam.
You mentioned in your opening statement about a different energy and preparation, and a couple of the guys after the game mentioned the same thing. Was there anything in particular you saw in their prep last week that kind of changed that for you?
Well, I mean, I thought they had fun competing. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it was, I can't sit here and say this team has not worked. I mean, I do believe that they've worked in practice. I believe they've been trying to get better, but it is still a different mentality when you feel that edge and that urgency and that was the thing that kind of stood out. There was good plays and bad plays in practice of last week, mistakes that were made, but there was an urgency and enjoyment for that work, and seeing guys going at each other and competing with each other, but all with the a positive mindset of what we get to do. And when you face disappointing results, it's at times, I mean, you want it so bad, you go out there and you work and everything's, you could just you grind through the work. But I mean, I thought just the, that mentality was really special. And I mean, it was something that I told our team before the game. It was motivating to me to watch them come out and prepare the way that they did, just with the mindset that they had. And it's something that you want, you desire, you ask for, but they made the choice to. And I was very confident in what it would look like, and that's where I mean, I felt us play like we're accustomed to playing here at Florida State. It was hard. It was there was energy. There was excitement. I mean, obviously we had an incredible atmosphere with our crowd. I mean, it was a fun game to be a part of, and just with all the different elements that showed up. I mean, those guys responded, and but I thought it was the response in the week of practice that prepared them for that.
Come over here to Chris. Front row.
As a play caller, how do you balance going tempo versus, playing at a little bit slower pace? First half, it seemed like you guys established some things with tempo, but I know you can't do that constantly.
It's obviously you have to be able to just extend drives, sustain drives. The explosive plays, helps that in some aspects. We had a couple of the early, we were able to pop a couple early runs that you get into that rhythm, and it's one of those things that I think is important for us to be able to establish, and it's something that we're working hard at, because I think that you see the success that we can have when we get into that rhythm, and to be able to play with tempo, but it's still the consistency of execution, making sure that we're taking what the defense has given us, and then when we get our opportunities to have an explosive play, when we get an opportunity to push the ball down the field, whether it's in a run game, whether it's in a passing game, we got to take advantage of that. And there were just probably 10 plays in that game offensively where you could take all different leads. Whether it was a read at quarterback, a track by a running back, a leverage from blocking. They did a good job of mixing their fronts and things like that. But just trusting what you see and the quick reactions of what has to show up. All those things were different elements where, and it is. I see progress. It's about the final execution of it, and we had a drop ball and a potential explosive that was big. Those are the things that have to be cleaned up, just so we can jump into the rhythm and make sure that we're pushing the tempo and playing and attacking the way that we want to.
Stay here for Brendan.
Is the plan to keep utilizing DJ at quarterback moving forward? And if so, what are things that you're seeing from him that you feel like you can build on, productively?
Definitely not changing his position. So, okay, yes, he's yes. Obviously, we all get to have the opportunity to go out and get better, and that's going to be the push throughout the course of this week. There were some good things that DJ did, in some very critical moments, and there are things where he has to be better. And it's the same for guys across the board. And we're going to continue to push, continue to evaluate what we have to do in every area, and not just at quarterback, and across the board. We got to go score points. We've got to be better offensively than what we've been. It's a challenge for every person, coaches, players, all of us. And so we're going to continue to push to do everything in our power to make sure that becomes the reality of how we operate.
We'll go to the third row for Jordan.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about two decisions during the game. First, going forward on 4th and 7, how come you didn't kick the field goal or punt? And then in the second half, at least have a fake punt return. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit as well?
Well, on the 4th and 7, it was going to be a 56-yard field goal. That's kind of the max range, just with the elements of what it was, there for Ryan. I thought our defense was playing really well. Felt very confident in, obviously the belief that we would go and get the first down. Obviously, it did not happen, but we've been really good in 4th downs this year, and ultimately, it didn't work out on that situation. The defense, they did get a field goal, there before the half, but I've got confidence in our team. I got confidence in the guys, trying to. I don't go into it thinking, oh my God, I hope this doesn't happen, or hope that doesn't happen. It's the belief in what you do and how you train and all elements of it. And I believed even if we didn't get it, that we would get a stop defensively. And obviously it's that I want to put our guys in the best position to be successful. And I think we've shown a lot of confidence in Ryan in that moment, but I felt that, hey, I liked where we were. I thought that if we get the first down, got an opportunity to go down there and and potentially score a touchdown, and like I said, that didn't work out. But we held them to a field goal, still went in with the lead there at halftime, and unfortunately, it didn't work out the way we wanted it to in that situation.
Come back to Chris in the front.
You spoke on a couple banged up guys earlier in your opening at running back. Obviously, Roy Dell was unavailable on Saturday. What's his prognosis moving forward?
He'll be out for probably an extended period. We have to continue to evaluate what that looks like. It's unfortunate for him, but it does open up a great opportunity for some of those younger guys. And I thought LT did an outstanding job, there in the game. And then you saw Cam Davis, which got banged up a little bit in the game, was able to come back. Sam Singleton was able to get some work. Mekhi Danzy is really pushing throughout. And then obviously Keziah Holmes. I think that running back core is still a very talented group. And it's unfortunate that we're going to be without Roy Dell for a little while. And obviously Jaylen Lucas being out, for the year. I mean, those are two really good players. But I think we'll very confident in the group that we have and what they'll be able to do. But you will see a little bit more of those younger guys as we push forward. Like I mentioned, with Rob and JB, I do think that those guys should be in a pretty good shape to be able to be available this week. And there was a good push, there towards the end of last week. But you feel good about where that's trending.
Stay here for Brendan.
You mentioned Jaylen early at the top of this. What did you like about his performance? What stood out, and how can he build on that moving forward?
Yeah, it was funny because I think he had a little bit of nerves going into the game. Because the week prior, you're going to come out of the pregame tunnel, or you're coming out of the tunnel going to the game, and that's where you're starting. And we had to move some things around, and so there wasn't really much time to think and prep. And that's where we always tell guys, you have to be ready for your moment. You never know when it's going to show up. And I think that was kind of a wake-up call, and I think he would be the first to tell you he didn't play his best game against Memphis, and it was. But going into this week, he knew the opportunity, he knew what he had to do, and then what I loved is even with the nerves they probably had before the game, and once the game started, man, you felt him playing fast. I mean, he trusted what he saw. It wasn't there was a mistake here or there, but when he was. When it is a job and responsibility, he did it to the best of his ability, and he was able to create some space. I thought he did play fast. I thought he was confident in the things he was being asked to do, and so like I said, I was proud of him, and I think it's it's a confidence builder because now he can go see in real tangible starting opportunity that he can go be a very high level player, and but now it's bringing that mindset to everything you do, whether you're starting or whether you're not starting. You got to be prepared, and you got to build upon that. And I think that's going to bring a great deal of confidence to him for what the future holds, and obviously the opportunities that will continue to present themselves here this year.
We'll go back right for Edwin.
Within like an RPO play with DJ, there's so much going on, obviously, but is he being instructed properly on the keys that he needs to be looking at and reading to make the proper decision, or is he just not making the right decision based on what you guys are instructing him to do?
Give me that question again.
So on the RPO play, there's a lot going on, but
Yes.
there's keys given on it. Like you got to look at who's crashing down, the numbers outside, if he's going to throw the ball. Are those things being instructed to him clearly that he's accepting them and processing them well in practice, or
It's everything that happens on the field. I'm responsible for the execution of what it is. So, we've got to do a better job in some of those areas to make sure that when we have opportunities, whether it's handing the ball, whether it's reading, whether it's pulling and running, that we're taking advantage of what we're getting, and we're all responsible for that.
We'll go to Kurt, front row on the right.
On the last Cal drive of the first half, how do you talk to Edwin about the penalty? It seemed like a pretty weird play, a weird penalty. And I guess with Edwin too, in a more positive note, the spark he's brought. Are you surprised? It felt like he's brought a spark on special teams and now a spark on defense.
No, over the last 3 weeks, I think he's grown as much as probably any individual on this team. And he's making some real even though it might be small in some other areas, but some real tangible efforts, just of improvement, of growth. And he loves playing this game. He's a fun player to watch, and definitely somebody that I think has a great future in front of him. The penalty, he's trying to punch the ball. And ultimately, he doesn't hit a quarterback when he's sliding. There's a lot of judgment calls that come out of it. And, we had 2 personal foul penalties that, they're playing the game, and it's not, if you're trying to punch a ball out, if the ball gets knocked out there, it is a fumble. And so that would have been the case in that play. And then, Maurice got an unnecessary roughness. And it's a hard play. When you're blocking somebody and they're going against you and the ball's behind you and there's no whistle, to know when that play is stopped. It's just that those are challenging things that we're going to work on the best ways to coach that and the best ways to eliminate, because those are big plays in games. You know, we're able to overcome it with a 3rd and 18, but that's a hard thing to have to overcome. You know, the Edwin, obviously that sparked them better field position, there on that drive, and it's a difficult thing with the kid, because he's not going into the quarterback, but yes, we are trying to knock the ball out with every opportunity. So, but I love what I'm seeing from him, and just excited about what his future is going to continue to grow and be.
We'll go back to Ira in second row.
With the way the offense is struggling at times, and since you do have such a good kicker, in hindsight, do you look back at like a couple of those drives late in the first half and think maybe be a little bit more looking to kick a field goal instead of trying to score? Does that ever enter your mind, or can you not look at it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all part of it. I mean, the interception was a bad play. I mean, it was a bad play. I mean, we didn't do a good job. I mean, it was just that was one that at the end of the day, we come back later on running the same play later in the game and execute it and put ourselves in a position to have an opportunity to go for it on 4th down. And it was, those are things that we just got to be better in the moment. And yes, I mean, but with outlets and different options, I mean, there's you can look at all things when it comes to play calling and what are you doing in this situation, that situation. I do have faith in the guys of what we can do, and we proved it within that game of what we could do in a longer yardage situation to be able to put ourselves in a position to go and score. And we scored a touchdown in a later drive because of those same type of decisions. Those are all things that we look at, and all things that you trust your gut. You got to trust what you see and what you believe you're going to get. And then yes, we do have to go out there and be able to properly execute. And we were able to do that at times. But on the flip side of it, obviously that was a bad situation where we missed out on opportunities for an opportunity for points.
All right, we'll go back a row to Peter.
Coach, this first time FSU will be playing SMU, but you having a familiarity with the team from back in time when you coach at Memphis. What usually would be preparation when going against this SMU team, and also thoughts about having to go back to your common grounds in the Dallas area that you grew up?
Well, I've got a lot of respect for this coaching staff, the team. It's a lot of new faces from whenever I had coached against them at previous places, but it's a good football team. I mean, it's one that they've got explosive playmakers. They've got dynamic quarterback. I think one of the best tight ends that we've played against. They've got guys that you get them the ball in space, they can make things happen. Defensively, they're going to be very aggressive in what they do. This is a team that can present a lot of challenges, and we're going to have to go and we're going to play better than what we've played. And we got to go on the road, and it's going to be a great atmosphere for them, and I just want to see our team just continue to go and get better. And obviously, I am from the Metroplex, and I've been played enough games, going back there, at previous places. So it's nothing new. But we got a couple guys from the Dallas area that I know they're excited about getting a chance to go play in front of their family and friends. So look forward to seeing them play well.
All right, we'll go to Corey.
On the Edwin Joseph play, the referee said after the play, personal foul after the play, but wasn't it happening?
There was nothing after the play.
Right, correct. It was during the play. All right, so anyway, that wasn't my question. I was just...
I got pretty far on the field. I got pretty close on that one.
So when you're through 4 games and you've only scored 60 points as a team, clearly not anywhere close to what you're expecting or wanting, is there a temptation to make drastic changes to your offense, maybe to the personnel, to the way you're calling things? Where is that temptation, and are there drastic changes that can even be made at this point?
It's all things, every part of it is evaluated, and that's, you look at, hey, what can we do to be better, because we have to be better. And there's no question about it. And if it takes drastic changes, we're going to figure it out. And because we are going to continue to work, continue to get better. But when there's been through those first 4 games, there's not just one thing, and that's where ultimately, like, it's a bunch of small things that that show up where we have to grow and we have to be better. And coming into the year, there's areas of strengths, areas of of wanting to see it in action, to how it's going to play, what it's going to be. There's a lot of work that goes into it. A lot of work that's out there on the practice field. A lot of work in studying, game planning, prepping for trying to put our guys in the best position. And you have to evaluate it all. Sometimes it's a personnel that, if we need to do this or we need to do that or put this guy in this position or that guy in another position. Those are all things that you've got to evaluate and But it still comes down, to making sure that it's what's best. Now, 4 games in, we've not done a good enough job offensively. That's very clear, and so we have to get better. And so we're going to continue to evaluate all parts of what we do, what we're asking them to do. Who's doing what, and then it's got to show up on the game to go be better, because it's a necessity for this football team. And ultimately that's my job in making sure that I'm helping put the right guys in the right place to go out there and be successful on game day.
All right, last one. We'll go to Matt, back row on the right.
You talked about all the players who are from the DFW area getting to see, have family come and see them play. You've also talked before about how important that direct flight from Tallahassee to Dallas is for recruiting. How cool is it now that the kids in the Dallas area have an opportunity to actually see Florida State play 32 minutes to an hour from home?
No, I think it's great. When SMU came into the league, that was that is one of those underlying benefits of knowing that with the direct flight, with the guys that we have and have recruited here to Florida State. It's a great tie for us, and those guys knowing that they also get a chance to play in the Metroplex, at least every few years. I think is a great benefit, and like I said, they're excited, and I think it's wonderful for our brand to be there and get a chance to for all the Florida State fans in the Metroplex to be able to come out and come see the Noles.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, thank you guys.
Coach, I'm just wondering, for you personally, what was it like not being on the sideline for those 3 games, and also what did you guys improve on in the run game against Cal versus the first 2 games of the season?
Yeah, it was difficult just because you want to be a part of it and be able to assist and help as much as in any aspect that you can. So I would say difficult in that aspect, especially when things are not going the way you plan. And, I've been on that sideline when things were going good. I've been on that sideline when things wasn't going very good. And you always want support in those kind of struggling times. And I just thought the backs did a good job of seeing it, getting those extra yards. We talk about yards after contact if you want to be great. We got to do a better job of maintaining and sustaining blocks. And also just coordinating the run. We got to make sure we're putting them in the best position as we can, because, we do get, people know we want to run the ball. We want to establish the run, so you got to make sure the looks are matching up to what you want it to be.
I'm sure having Darius back helped, and then Jaylen, Coach Norvell talked about Jaylen feeling more comfortable the second start. Last week was kind of throwing up at the last minute. But it seemed like across the board there was more physicality. Is that accurate, or do they just operate better?
Yeah, it's 5 of them out there, so a lot of times that group gets defined as a group, which they should because of the O-line. But I thought we've had some guys that play physical and some guys that, need to, get better in the physicality. I thought having, what happened with Jaylen was a prime example of you never know when your opportunity comes. Opportunity never, Coach Petito always tells me, Coach, opportunity doesn't come and give you an introduction like, hey, I'm opportunity, I'm here to give you what you're looking for. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. So what you've done to prepare in that moment is going to show. So I think as a young guy that hadn't repped too much, it was tale of 2 weeks of in warm-ups not knowing you're going to go to after warm-ups to now you had a week to prepare because you knew you were going to go. And that does wonders for those young O-linemen, especially in understanding how important their role is. When young O-linemen, they just want to play. And then once they play, they realize that comes with a heavy responsibility, not only just the results of the game, but the health of the people behind you. So I think he took that serious, and his preparation is serious, so he saw the results. So hopefully he continues to do that. But he's on that track. He's right at where his body and how he plays should be able to go out there and perform. I learned some hard lessons in playing young O-linemen too early. And I had some bodies beat up, from surgeries to things of that nature. But he was able to develop his body and then go out there and showcase himself, which he's going to keep going.
What are things through 4 games you've seen from DJ that you can build on positively, and what are things that he just needs to get better at moving forward?
Yeah, he needs to stop stressing. I think sometimes he takes it. He's been through it, but he also, he takes full ownership and responsibility. And sometimes you try to force those big plays and force those moments. I thought we did a good job converting some third downs, which was positive, another positive step forward. But just take what they give you, and also understand that everything has a reason and a setup for something else. But you don't have to force the issue. Just kind of let it come to you and let the defense, let us dictate what we want it to be. So I think he's finding more comfortable. Our job is to keep him inspired and keep him positive. I think he's finding more comfort level with that, but also the understanding that, man, it'll come. It'll come. So I saw that settle down with the play he made to Jakai. We missed a couple opportunities in there to kind of open that thing up, but he just got to let it come to you and not just try to force that thing.
Obviously, the total points are what you're looking for, but there were a lot of positives, it looked like, from play to play. How much does it, in terms of watching the film with those guys, the whole offense, just seeing successful plays, coming after a win, just like in terms of just the mindset as they go on to another week?
Yeah, the difficulty on offense is that, sometimes it's not repetitive, where you say, like, everything goes in general broad deals. It's blocking, but it could just be this individual that's blocking that has done it before and showcased it but didn't do it on that play, or drops like, oh man, there's been different people, at different times who has actually made some big plays at certain other times. Or it could be, hey, they're not, to throw this. Whenever it's multiple things in a broad view, our job is to inspire, to show that they can because they've done it before, but also try to avoid the big mistakes, like all right, we can't have that, and make sure we got the right personnel out there. But overall, I've been seeing the positive strides of us not only preparing them to what they can do in the game plan and preparation, but also them having the confidence to go out there and do it. When I look out there on the field, there's a lot of guys that they didn't have the responsibility of wins and losses on them ever before in their career. Like, there's a lot of guys out there that played on good football teams that they never had to bear that responsibility. Like, if I don't make this play, this could be detrimental. So now I think they're settling down. Like, no, you have to. This has to be done. It's not like, there's nobody coming behind you to save you. So now I think that responsibility and ownership is showing up in preparation, which is growing the offense.
Coach Norvell mentioned earlier that you guys can be out without Roydell for an extended period of time. What challenges does that present to the offense, but also how excited are you to see the young guys, Cam Davis, get more opportunities?
Yeah, Roydell was a tough runner, and I was interested to see as the season progressed how he would grow and the understanding of what we're trying to do. But, when he does come back, I think sometimes, that adversity gives you a little bit of humility and understanding, and then sometimes watching practice from outside in, you kind of get a little bit more. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. But I love how LT stepped up big for us and taking the load. I think he took the most carries of a back this season, and Cam showing he can go in there and showcase his abilities as well. And I can't wait to get him some more, because I think when we get to see his speed and power on display consistently, it's going to help the offense. And you still got like Sam got in there, and mix it up a little bit, and Kazai's always ready to go. So I think that room overall, those young guys growing up and finding that comfort level of not just wanting to play, but actually playing responsible and taking a preparation into it is going to be big for us.
Some of the young guys are starting to, take advantage of opportunities. Jaylen Brown seems like he's stepping up, and you guys have a lot of young skill guys that are super talented. Like, how do you guys, I guess, handle the urge to want to get them on the field because they look like they could maybe make some big plays, also balancing, maybe they don't know everything they need to do. Like, how challenging is that?
Yeah, I mean, I want every skilled player in there to want the ball and want to play. I mean, that's the – I don't want them to say I don't want to play. So I want them to press and really show. But also now that they have the desire, I have to teach them the process of how. This is how preparation looks. This is how you got to take care of your body. This is how you got to show responsibility even outside of the field. It doesn't just start there. It starts in how are you when the list come out, the academic list. Are you on point? Are you take care of like all the other stuff to show that you're ready for that responsibility to go out there and have that. And Jaylen Brown is another guy I mentioned that might not have had games where I want to play, but I haven't had to make a third down contested catch for us to move the chains in a big game. These are all learning things for him as well too. So I love the progression. We come out here on Sunday nights and all those guys, that's like game 2 for us because all the guys that don't play 20% of the game, they go out there and we practice and we run a big script and we get to kind of go out there and coach those guys like that's their game on Sunday. And all those guys have been showing up in situations that they know, but just being able to react to the flashes of the game that we might not have showed them or prepared for, they got to start having that understanding of what that is for that trust. And I do believe you will see more of those guys as we're pushing forward because I'm starting to see those eyes change and those pushing in those practices. So, and even look on the sideline for me, being on the sideline for the first time, seeing those guys hungry and listening to them when things are happening and coaching each other, it gives you a little bit more trust with those guys as they're going forward. And they understand exactly what they got to do. You can't just go out there and say, hey, you're going to play when you're ready. No, man, coach, what do you need to see? We tell them what we need to see. If they showcase that, then they'll go play.
Coach, Cal was the 3rd game in a row you guys did not pick up a first down on the opening possession of the game for the offense.
Yeah.
What do you guys need to do to get better at that phase of the game?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to overall execution. And that's a coach term, but that's just reality. Because when we come back and we discuss it with the players, they say, oh, man, I saw this, that, you know what I mean? So I thought the second play kind of put us in a little bit of jam because we, the tight end flat there deal with the end read, got into a little danger there. But other than that, I think that, that's the main thing of it is making sure that our opening scripts match the things that they're comfortable with and we can kind of give them a little bit of success of what we've seen from defense. But the defense coordinators, they know too. So they understand how to change the look up and we got to be able to react when it's not exactly what we thought it was. And that goes from us making sure we give them the reactions of the things that can show up, but also the players' reaction in real time.
Corey? The hold that was called on Ferguson, my uneducated eye, I know he threw him to the ground, but it kind of looked like he just blocked him to the ground. What did he do? What's the teaching moment there to tell him not to do better? And then also with Jaylen early, I think there was a play where he had a really nice block and kind of did a little bit of a flex. Like he felt himself a little bit in a good way. Is that something you like to see out of an offensive lineman, to have that kind of personality or belief in himself to be fired up after a block like that?
Yeah, 2 parts of it. The first thing is Fergs was a holding because he stopped his feet on contact. I thought he had a good block on the guy and he was trying to be aggressive with his upper body. But anytime you stop your feet during post-contact, there's always a chance you can get a hold with any upper body inflection because it doesn't matter if it was a hold, if it presents or looks like a hold, they'll call it. So the easiest way to thing is always try to keep your hands tight and keep your feet post-contact active as possible, then you'll kind of avoid some of those things. So that was the correction for him. For Jaylen, I think it's more self-belief that you can. We all, all of us are pretty high in our professions, but at one point, you got that moment of like, I can do this, and it builds that self-confidence. So I like to see him out there going and celebrating when he can and still keeping his mind in the game, but it's like, I can do this, you know what I mean? And now that builds from there. So, that was awesome to see a young guy go out there and now he's earned his reps to try to kind of go in there and start the competition going, which always elevates everybody when you have that, especially at that position. And also, Jaylen is like watching him practice, he ain't the biggest guy, but man, if you go out to practice, he's been blocking for a while. He's a good player, So I'm excited to see him excel and keep continuing doing. He's also multiple. He's played, guard and tackle for us. So I'm excited to see his growth and how much he keeps going for us because we sure need him.
Not your position or even your side of the ball, but it's one team. But what the defensive line did in this past game and the way they've started to play the last couple of weeks, Josh and Payton and those guys, what can that maybe do for the offense and the whole team overall?
I think it goes back to the statement I said about guys who played a lot of football, but the ownership of, I have to make that play. There's nobody else coming. I can't, where my responsibility, because every part of the game is not the same. There's critical parts of the game. There's situations of third down, last drive, and your light bulb kind of goes on like, oh, I'm the one that got to do this. This is me. And we got a lot of guys, good players and talented. I don't know how many times they've been in those kind of situations. So as those situations are coming up in the game, you're starting to see improvement from that, whether it be offense, defense, special teams. Of oh, it's me. I'm going to go win the game. I'm going to go make the stop. I'm going to go make the catch. I'm going to make the block. So it becomes that personal accountability and ownership of, okay, now I understand that role of not just playing of personal gain and things of that nature to, no, I'm responsible for the outcome of the game. And you watch those guys' preparation and how they prepare and said, okay, it's not just practice. When we practice in third down, okay, this on me. You know what I mean? I was talking to Jordan on the sideline, and I remember, when he was here, he talked about that moment in NC State when we lost. He learned more in that game than anything because he said, oh, I had to make the play. Because we threw the interception. He was like, oh, I got it. Then from now, he made a tremendous run of just understanding. And if you go back to those interviews, Coach talked about how he started to prepare and what changed and what clicked for him to understand, like, oh, I got to be on point. Or this can be detrimental. So I think as our guys' preparation is starting to go to that of the ownership, we're starting to see that progression that we need to see throughout the process.
Anything else for Edwin?
4 games now with you guys coordinating DJ as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Is he figuring out things that you guys want out of him, or is it more important now for you guys 4 games to have learned what he's comfortable doing and cater things around that and, I guess, teach him, coach him up in a way that he feels more comfortable with things?
Right, that balance of what we're comfortable with versus what the defense presents that we can take advantage of. And our job is because, they got class and things that are going over. We're up here all day, every day, so we know we can kind of see what the defense is going to present to us. Then we have to find that formula that they've done to kind of still fit what we can utilize against the defense. So we got to find that balance. We have to make sure we're doing a better job of that because, as coaches, sometimes we get excited and maybe they hadn't done that before, you know what I mean, and things of that nature. So, yes, we have to make sure we're comfortable in showing the strengths of what we do, not to always be reaction, but to dictate the things we do well and make them stop the things we do well, but also be able to react differently when they're presenting something maybe we haven't done, but we can take advantage of. So there is a fine balance of that, and we got to make sure we're finding it pretty quickly.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
I'm sure, it seems like it's been coming with the defensive front, but that performance and all the tackles for loss, all the impact plays, like what can just putting that film on do for not just the guys that made those plays, but maybe the whole defense?
Well, it's the build-up to, and it's good to see production because we needed every one of them to win that football game. So, I believe in what we're coaching. I believe in the guys that we're coaching, and we haven't always gotten the results we've wanted, and I'm not even saying we have gotten the results that we've wanted even last Saturday night, but I have seen it, and I've been outwardly bringing you guys inside with the unit of showing this is where we are. This is what I see that we've done, and just day by day trying to show this is the direction that I believe that we can go, and just harping on the little things and making sure we're holding them to a standard and using depth and trying to force rotations and trying to motivate, trying to inspire, trying to make the right call, all of it. And, it's good to see him have some success, but we're going to need a lot more of that.
Coach, to see a guy like Edwin come in and have those big moments against Cal, especially what he did after 2 good weeks on special teams, just what do you think that does for him and his confidence?
Well, he earned it because of what he did on special teams and what he's done in his preparation. And, when you start repping, especially with DBs, when you're playing a lot of nickel defense, trying to put these guys in position, there's always the mindset, do you let a younger player focus on one spot and get good at it? Some guys learn better by doing more, and you really got to know the individual, putting them in those opportunities. Some people learn better that way. Maybe it helps their focus. And Edwin was somebody, as he was having success in special teams, I saw the maturity and how he went about his preparation in that role. We started to give him more opportunities in practice, and then he goes out there and picks a ball off and has a sack. And, you felt that last week, too, throughout practice, how it was looking for him. And, he was playing dime in the game as well. So, definitely think there's more to come with Eddie. I do think he's a talented player, and he loves football, and it's starting to show up.
Coach, you mentioned depth earlier. I think at the beginning of the season you said you wanted to play 19 to 20 guys. You ended up playing 26 on Saturday. What are the advantages of playing so many guys, but also is there communication problems that could come with so many different combinations of players?
Yeah, I think we played 27. Not including special teams, just on a defensive snap. And it's probably a little bit more than, I don't want to say I wanted, because that's what happened. And, we're definitely rotating a lot of different pieces. And, some positions we're doing it to try to find the right productivity and to play the right way. Some people we do it because it's the way that we want to do it. And, but it brings, I think our communication is improving. I think the connectedness of the coverage in the front is getting better. It's still not perfect. We gave up a third down just because of one guy saw it one way, the other guy saw it the other way. We paused, hesitated, it's a snap throw on. And when you get those third and mediums, you've got to really be on point. And, so probably a few more, but maybe that happens again. That's probably the most I've ever played in a one-score game. I see it as a benefit because you're giving guys opportunities, but we'll see how the future holds here. But, all the guys that get in the game deserve to get in the game. What those roles look like as we move forward will still be determined. But, that's kind of how that game had to play.
Question on 2-2-year guys. Blake Nicholson, obviously more of a starter role, more reps. How's he doing with that? And then Q got a real opportunity on Saturday and made the most of it. Just how much does his aggressiveness kind of transcend from practice to the game?
Yeah, Blake's kind of, I don't want to say solidified, but, he's up there in rep count at linebacker, if not the highest. I think he was the highest this last Saturday. He's been trending that way. His production was probably the best he's had in Cal game. I'm still looking for those game-changing plays that I know are in him. And some of those are opportunities. I don't want to be but I just know there's so much in him from athleticism and football and just the investment of reps and him seeing things and we're trying to get all that stuff squished into practice, but he is learning on the fly some of the game, and I do think he's constantly growing and getting better. So, I like where Blake's at. I think we'll even get more from him, as games go on. That usually, hopefully, it happens with all players, but especially the ones that are new to the field at our level. Quinn was somebody we went into the season. We put him in a special teams role, and he was going to be our third corner. He was going to play. The first game, the snaps were so low in the rep count. It never worked that way. And, we got him in, I think, at the BC game. He played in the Memphis game. And the thing at corner is when they go at you 2 times in a series and he makes both plays, and they come back on a 3rd down and he makes the play all in a group, everybody sees it, right? And it's front and center. And those are incredibly important plays. They were critical. I mean, he was 3 for 3 and make a play grade in a 1-score game, and all in match coverage. And so, proud of him. Me and him just got done meeting just a few minutes ago, and he's very focused on the things that he needs to continue to do so that he shines in those moments. And excited about the progress he's made, but it's something we believed in.
I think you spoke a little bit about him last week, and that was Josh Farmer getting more comfortable and continued again. Is that just him getting further from the injuries, or a sense of urgency? What's attributing to the ascension that we're seeing?
Well, I would say it's playing football. He obviously had to miss the bowl game, and then he had a miss spring. And the first time he used his punching physically was really probably the 2nd week of fall camp. And, then you're trying to come back from it, and you think you can play the way you want to play. And there were moments where he'd look at me and say, I feel good, but then, it'd be a tweak here, tweak there, and then, all of a sudden now the offensive linemen start moving at a different pace, and your hand. So, I mean, he had to get back to playing the way he needed to play, and, I wish it happened sooner for him, but it wasn't because he just made a decision that he didn't want to do it, but I think we're seeing it. I mean, he's a dominant defensive tackle when he plays with the right technique in the pad level, and a lot of that had to do with him just getting himself right with his hands, and I think we're starting to see that because he had a dominant performance Saturday. His one-on-one grades were really good. I'm sure the guy he was going against got a bunch of minuses.
You've talked about not enough advantageous 3rd downs. I think you saw the advantageous, and it showed up in the sack numbers, obviously, specifically with Marvin and how he finished that game. How encouraging was seeing that, where you haven't seen enough of that, and some of that's situational? And when he's playing like he was in that final series, what's that do for the defense as a whole?
Well, advantageous means like a long yardage?
Yeah.
Okay. It was good to be in those situations, right? We've been trying to do it, and you only get in those situations if you stop the run game, right? And, we're getting better at that. We'll be really tested this week. But, when you get whatever it was, 7, 6 sacks, usually with how we play defense, some of it was pressure-oriented from calling certain pressures. Some of it was just guys winning one-on-ones. And if you're going to be really good and you're going to play great defense, your guys have to be able to rush the passer in just rush situations where you're not twisting and moving. And, I mean, you got to go win some one-on-ones. And we try to recruit that way. Marv had production, but I saw the production 6 months ago, on the practice field, and knew it was going to be there, but it just hasn't been. And as a coach, you can't panic, you can't change. You just need to emphasize the things to help them get there. And we've tried to do that, and regardless of success or failure, you've got to keep maybe finding a new way to say it, a new way to introduce it, a new drill, a new way to, talk and make sure that their mindset and they believe in themselves. And, it was good to see Marv, have success. I know he was as frustrated about the couple sacks that he missed as he was excited about the ones he made. I think he was more relieved, which I hate that for him because I want him to enjoy everything about this wonderful game. But he's a very talented player. He does care about this football team, and he wants to have success, and it was good to see him have some.
Coach, seeing how you're getting to the quarterback and providing enough pressure, but now what's going to be the icing on the cake of trying to get more turnovers to basically have that basically connect with the pass rushing. But how much is going to be great to have more turnovers? What's going to be a challenge for that?
Well, the offense turns the ball over. We take it away. Right, so there's sort of a way to how we haven't done a good job of taking it away. Now, some of that, I mean, the ball's been on the ground, and we forced some fumbles, not enough, but the ball has been on the ground sometimes in the first couple games, and we haven't been able to get on it. And so we need to do a better job with that. Marv had the strip sack, and the ball was on the ground for 2 or 3 seconds rolling around. We couldn't jump on it, and we need to. But, obviously we want to get more takeaways, and we're trying to, and hopefully that shows up this Saturday.
Coach, there's 3 drives. They had 15-play drive, 10-play drive, 13-play drive. They didn't get any points. Part of that's because their kicker wasn't Adam Vinatieri. But is there anything about the field gets shorter and then you guys are able to perform better, or is it just talent winning out? You guys are better than them up front, and that kind of shows out over the course of a 8, 9, 10-play drive?
Yeah, long drives are bad, right? And usually that comes down to probably a third down stop. There was a big play, here or there, but really proud of the red zone defense because it hasn't been there. And so to keep a team out of the end zone for 60 minutes is a big deal. And, to hold them to field goal attempts, JP's got the numbers, you could probably ask him, but somehow, some way, the field goal attempts against us over the last couple of years, the percentage of makes have been pretty low. And I think our guys do a good job of rushing and forcing kicks, and again, you get credit when somebody bats the ball down and you beat LSU because everybody sees it. What you don't get credit for in general is when you have 6 hands 3 inches from the ball and he yanks it right or left, and we try to sell that to our guys as a statement that that kid kicking the ball feels that. And so JP will have a little bit more insight on the numbers of all that, but I think it's important. So yeah, we're not baiting guys in a long drive so we can stop them in the red zone, but if they happen to get down there, line up the field goal unit. That's what we're trying to get done. So, and they did a good job. No touchdowns in the red zone, no touchdowns in general. That usually bodes well to winning the football game.
You talked already about playing 27 guys. I think Shaheem still played a lot, but I think he played 50 plays. And there were parts in the fourth quarter where he's probably your most experienced defender on the field, and he's on the sideline with other guys in there. Is that a concerted effort? Like, we've got to get young guys ready to play. We want them to play. How much of that is them earning that playing time, and how much of that is you just pushing playing time upon them to get ready for the rest of the season and the rest of their careers?
Yeah, really good question because of the noticing of the rotations and all that stuff, Corey. That's good. One-score games, all we're trying to do is get the right guys in there at that moment. Honestly, I mean, there was even a series we put Ashland Barker and Devontae together. We played 5 safeties in the game. And so you guys have been with me. There's been times that we've had a safety play 77 plays in a game, and they don't come off the field. And so I'm for both of those scenarios as long as we're playing really good, and I'm working towards that.
Two-parter. One as a follow-up to my question on Josh earlier. Like, when one of your best players put a dominant performance together, like, what kind of trickle-down effect does it have? And then the other question was on Pat Payton, and he talked about running to the ball more. Did you see that, and kind of impact can that have when one of your better players is putting that level of effort?
Yeah, trickle down from, obviously, your first one with Josh having a really good performance. I mean, that inspires guys, but I think the most important thing is the other 6 days of the week. And, if you have a gamer and he shows up in the game and he plays really well, I mean, that carries some weight because it'll go on the highlight film and guys will get excited, but that won't last very long. And when a guy does it right for 6 days a week and then he goes and has those days on Saturday, those are program changers. That's what changes programs. That's what changes the mindset of teams. And, I think Josh has silently gone to work, and it's really good that he's getting production. And, but that's the message to him, and that's the message to the entire team. Running the ball is not something that, we're losing, let's run the ball now. But it's got to be the way you play. And, I've been very direct in showing this is not what it looks like, and this is what it looks like. And, it's never going to be 100% to one end of perfection. But I will tell you, this week there were a lot of clips that I showed, and there were great effort clips in practice. And, there were also some clips that I showed from Saturday night where we had 11 people around one ball carrier, and we were the only 11 people in the picture besides him. And those are really good clips. We're trying to earn more of those clips.
what is it that Rhett Lashley's doing with that offense and the personnel he's currently using that will give you guys a challenge as a defense?
You know, they had a really good year last year. You know, they've had a good year this year. You know, they run the football. They've made a change at quarterback here, sounds like permanently since the BYU game. And, you know, he brings some problems because he's an athlete that wants to get out of the pocket and run around and throw guys open. And if he doesn't, he's going to keep the ball and run around. And, you know, Coach Lashley's been really successful calling offensive plays for a number of years. We've competed against them throughout my career at all different places that I've been. He didn't become a head coach because he calls bad plays, you know. So he's done a nice job, and SMU's, you know, been really good on offense. But it starts because they've been able to run the football. And when you can run the ball and throw enough screens to keep people honest, then downfield pass game's going to show up. And you know, I don't want to simplify it, but you know, they're going to run the football until they feel like you're playing the run, and they're going to take their shots down the football field. And you know, obviously, it's not that simple, but that's kind of how their game plays, and it's been good enough for them to score 66 points last week.
There was a play, I think, on their second to last drive where if the quarterback escapes the pocket, he's probably running into the end zone. And Patrick makes a diving, saving, probably a TD saving, maybe a game-saving tackle late in the fourth quarter on a hot night. I guess what does that say about his effort? Defensive ends want to crush quarterbacks. They don't want to just trip them up by the shoestrings. But what does that say about his effort in that moment to do everything he could to try to get that kid on the ground?
Yeah, that play and the importance of it, I know they're different games, but it reminded me of the play he made in the Clemson game on a quarterback run when he came out of a pressure and made a shoestring tackle to basically save the game too. You know, he's got really good instincts. You know, he played really hard through that play, laid out, gave us everything he could, and that's what big-time players need to do. They need to show up in those games, those moments, and he did. But that was an enormous play because it was one of those, oh, it's going to be a sack. Oh, wait, there's space, and it's a backyard play, and, you know, guys got to stand up, and Patrick did, and he laid out and made a big-time play on that one that gave us another chance to win the game. Thanks, guys. See y'all.
Coach Ford just mentioned the 2 kicks or field goals that Cal missed could have been a result of good pressure. Did you see that also on film?
Yeah, you know, I think our guys do a good job of getting pressure even on kicks that we don't get blocks. You know, I mean, obviously that's an easy metric to look at in terms of how many blocks you have. But the pressure in itself, I do think it affects the kickers, and I think our guys did a nice job with that. And over the course of time, you could see, we have a pretty good percentage in terms of how people kick against us in terms of their makes or misses, and I think that is a reflection of the pressure.
The way Marvin was able to finish the game, what can that do for him from a confidence standpoint moving forward?
Well, I think Marvin obviously has a high expectation for himself. We have high expectations for him, and I think sometimes when that is the case, you can press a little bit and stress about whatever your statistical numbers are and everything else like that. And I think him having some success late in the game, creating 2 critical sacks, getting the ball out on one of them, hopefully that's something we can build off of. I thought his mindset and attitude yesterday in practice was excellent. His approach, I saw him just a few minutes ago today. His attitude, he had a smile on his face for the first time in a couple weeks. I'd seen him really smile and walk around the building. So hopefully that's a carryover effect that we'll see Tuesday in practice and Wednesday, because that's what led to, in my opinion, some of our guys having better days. I just thought the energy was really good last week of practice, and we need to continue that going into this week.
Coach, to see a guy like Edwin go from the impact that he had on special teams in the first 2 weeks to what he did against Cal, just what have you seen from his growth since the start of the year to what he was doing last Saturday?
Yeah, Edwin's a guy that I've really seen a lot of steps in the right direction in the last 3 or 4 weeks. And it's not just the on the field stuff. It's when he's in the meeting, when being one of the first guys into the meeting room, having a great attitude when he's getting there. And I always believe that special teams is an opportunity for some of these young players to be kind of a confidence-building, stepping stone approach to how they get on the field defensively. The fact that he was able to make a couple plays on special teams is definitely confidence-inspiring, and not only for him but for the staff. And then to find ways to create more opportunities for him, and then for him to go out and play well on Saturday night, which obviously he did, is big for him individually, but it's also really important for this football team because we need some of those young guys to come along as he's showing to do to this point.
Coach Norvell and Coach Fuller both seem to make a point to say it's not, what happened Saturday night from the defense front didn't just happen on Saturday night, that it was the preparation to get to that point. Did you see, obviously the season started poorly for everybody, did you see that gradually coming, and how much better have you been feeling about kind of the preparation coming along?
I did see it coming last week. I saw intent in some ways leading into the game a couple weeks ago, but what I really saw last week was a change of just energy and enthusiasm and just having some fun at practice. And because the weight of a bad start weighs on everybody, and that's players, that's coach, that's everybody. And I thought last week we went out and competed at practice at a higher level, kind of put away some of that anger or whatever the feelings were, sadness, frustration, whatever it is, and just went and had some fun competing against each other. And you did see an energy show up in practice that was a little bit different. And like I told the guys last Tuesday, if we want to continue to do everything the same way that we're doing it, we're going to get the same results. Something's got to change in terms of how we approach these practices. And, they bought in and they really worked hard last week. And, we were able to have some success on Saturday night with the defensive front. And we need that to carry over again this week. Just the approach and how we attack the meeting room, how we attack the practice field, and the competitive energy that was out there all week last week.
Peter?
Coach, when it comes to making like a long field goal, like 50 plus, what's the deciding factor of whether of putting it on Ryan Fitzgerald or having to make a decision wanting to punt or wanting to go for it? What factors in with any of those?
Obviously those decisions, those game management decisions, those offensive decisions are all Coach Norvell's decisions to make. What he does at times, he asks for input, whether he we feel like we're in range, not in range, what we may need to gain. On that one particular, I'm sure you're referencing that where we went for it on the 4th and 7, it was right on the edge of where Ryan's range is. And, so that's one of those decisions that, based on how we're playing in the game, offensively, defensively, how Ryan's kicking, like those are the calculated risks that you take. And, it was right there on the edge, and Coach probably could have went either way with it, but I know he, the way he decided to go with it, that was the best decision at the time. Sometimes those things work out and sometimes they don't. But, I do think it was the best decision, especially the way we're playing on defense.
Coach, in the third quarter, did you guys try a fake punt return, and what were the instructions on that play to Lewin McCoy?
No.
Was this one of Byron Turner's better efforts? And then a second question I wanted to ask was on Payton and his effort, just like your pure like hustle and energy. What kind of shifted for him in that regard this week?
Well, listen, I'm not going to try to be over analytical and be a psychologist, but I think, especially guys who come back with some experience and have all these hopes and dreams of what not only this year is going to look like, but what the future is going to look like. When it doesn't start that way, and we've watched it with other guys in the past, they carry a lot of pressure, whether it's self-imposed, whether it's from family members, whether it's from whatever. There's a lot of noise around him. And I felt like Pat was carrying around a lot of weight on his shoulders the first couple weeks, with whatever in his mind, how he expected everything to play out or how he had hoped it would play out. And, obviously it was frustrating for him to a certain degree. And I think when I was referencing guys having a little bit more fun in practice, I think one of the things that you saw from him last week was just kind of putting some of that baggage down and not trying to carry it around all the time, and just go play and let the results play out based on how hard you play, the energy, the effort, the tenacity that you decide to play the game with. You're in control of that. You can't control anything else. You can't control anybody else on the field. You can't control your opponent, but you can control the effort and the energy that you play with. And I think he bought into that idea last week and said, I'm just going to go out there and do the very, very best that I can possibly do. And, hopefully that's going to be the spark maybe to somebody else. And it showed up for him in practice, and then obviously translated for him playing a pretty good game the other day. In terms of your question about Byron, I did think it was one of the better games that he played. I think he brings us an energy off the sideline and does a good job in the role that he's playing right now. And I know he wants to increase that role as he goes, and we'll continue to evaluate that all going forward.
What are the lessons you're hoping the Edge group learned from the Georgia Tech performance and the BC performance against scrambling athletic quarterbacks that they can apply to SMU and Jennings?
I think there is some carryover. I wouldn't have really thought leaving either Georgia Tech or Boston College that the quarterback scramble was really the thing that hurt us bad. I mean, we didn't do a good job against the run, and that to me is where we've been able to make the improvement the last couple weeks. Defensively, just better playing the design run, whether it's the design quarterback run, which we saw early in the year, but then some of just the true run game that we've been seeing the last couple weeks. We're playing it better. We're playing it more fundamentally sound. We're playing it more physical, and that translates into more pass rushing opportunities. We didn't really get a lot of those pass rushing opportunities the first couple of weeks because we didn't do a good enough job against the run. And I do think that's one thing that our guys really understand, is that you have to earn the right to put yourself in those pass rushing situations. And I thought on Saturday night we earned the right to be in some more of those pass rushing situations. And it translated with the statistical success we were able to have up front.
Corey?
I think he caught two of them. Did you like the way LaWayne Witten approached the punt return job and looking a little more comfortable and confident catching the ball? And was there one in particular, not the one that went 69 yards, but another one where maybe you'd like him to run up and go get that thing?
Yeah, I thought on the first couple he did a good job, confident and caught it. I thought we could have attacked the one that hit the ground a little bit more. But some of that is going to come with confidence, but it's also going to come with experience. I think the hardest thing for a punt returner to do is to run up towards everybody who's covering down on you, including your teammates who are blocking you. When there's less traffic in front of you, obviously that's a lot easier of a catch situation for Luane. But, I thought, for every game that he's going to be out there, he's going to continue to get better at it. We had the one that went 69 yards, that had nothing to do with Luane. He was doing exactly what we were coaching him to do. And, I just look forward to him continuing to grow and get better as we go.
Anything else from JP? Okay. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.